Hi everyone and welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. In this episode, we are headed down to the mighty Georges River in New South Wales to review the Action Fishing Tournament's Round 8, which was held on the 5th of October in 2024. Anyway, this was a great little competition. I was able to get down there and get a few fish and did okay, but not well enough to beat some of the champions that are involved in this competition. Not only did I not win, but I also got bumped from 4th to 5th on countback. So there you go. Anyway, let's roll the intros and we'll get into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target bream on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite bream competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here's your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right. So as usual, a couple of things going on. As I record this, my Hobie 12 360 XR has been visiting Hobie and they have put on Active Target out of Lowrance. So Active Target 2. And I can't wait to get that out there. So a couple of things to note about that. Obviously, the Lowrance product, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. I've also had the transducer pole supplied by Transducer Poles Australia. So if you're looking at getting some form of active target and need a pole, definitely get in there and have a look. Jump online, just Transducer Poles Australia. It's the one that Rob Payne owns. Yeah, he's got some great product. And I'm looking forward to actually, rather than just saying I got it, reviewing it over the coming weeks to tell you what I think. But first glance, it's definitely quite good. So I'm looking forward to that. One of the things I've noticed this year with the competition results is the amount of people who have done well using forward-facing sonar. And I can't wait to get my hands on it and see how it works for me. And I'll definitely keep you updated as we go. All right, this is a great little round down the Georges River. A couple of things about it, like I did say in the intro, I did get bumped out of 5th place by Joshua Richards. That doesn't seem fair, does it? He's been smashing it. Anyway, we've got the same measurement, but he got a 40.5 and I just didn't. And then the other thing, as you'll hear in the episode, that Warren Allen came second on countback. So another cracking bag, over 120 centimetres, so 121.5. Had a draw with Ryan Honeybrook, has just been dominating Georges River, but Ryan had the bigger fish out of the two, so which meant that he won. Anyway, great little round. Good to see them all up the top. It was great to be part of. I really enjoyed going down there and having a go. All right, so let's just go through the stats for this one. So we had 77 in the fish activity wheel. Should have been a great day. I mean, for me, it was okay, but I wouldn't say great. We had a minor bite period at 5:36 a.m. through to 7:06, given we launched at, I think, 6 o'clock. I think from memory, maybe it was 5:30. It was early. And then a major bite period at 12:07. So we kind of missed that in the back end of the session. The tides were high tide at 9:36 at 1.49, running down to a low tide at 3:52 at 0.35. All right, so that's all the stats I've got for you. Let's jump on and let's hear from Corey Lean from Podium Marine Wraps. All right, so first up in third place, I have an angler dropping 3 fish. First one measuring 39, second one 41, and the third one 30.5 centimetres, giving him a total of 110.5 and third place. I'd like to welcome back to the Bream Fishing Project, Corey Lean. Welcome back, mate.
Thanks, Stevie. Thanks for having me again, mate.
Mate, another good result for you in an AFT, mate. You've done quite well this year.
Yeah, I haven't had any real standout results, but it's just been a year of consistencies, and I think at the end of the day, it's paid off.
Definitely, mate. Third place, I'd take that.
Yeah, there's been a few third places, as we were just discussing off air, but yeah, it's no stellar results throughout the year, but just that good consistency and a lot of top 10 finishes amongst that as well. So, yeah, just being at the right end.
Absolutely. Ended up leaving you in first place for Angler of the Year, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's been good. The boys have put on a very good comp throughout the year, and yeah, it's just nice having a kayak series that's local to home and one-day events and only half days as well. It's just been a really good thing to be a part of. So Craig and Warwick should be pretty proud of what they've done.
Yeah, mate, I'm told that Shimano's come on board and there's a little present for you coming.
Yeah, I had a quick conversation with Josh Carpenter night before last and still not 100% sure what it is, but yeah, I hear it's a pretty good prize. So yeah, big thanks to them for supporting the series.
Absolutely. All right, mate, let's get round to it. Tell us, did you get out for a pre-fish, or when was the last time you were on the water?
Well, technically, yes. I did the East Coast Bream series the week prior. So initially it was meant to be before we went to Foster. So I think it was maybe 3 weeks before when it actually was. But yeah, that's a teams event. And yeah, Josh Carpenter's normally my partner in that, but he was overseas at the time. So I ended up doing it on my own. Yeah, found plenty of fish, but just couldn't find the ones that mattered, unfortunately. And yeah, nothing really positive come from it, to be quite honest with you. I had no idea what I was going to do on Saturday morning leading into the AFT round, but I guess I knew where I wasn't going to go, and yeah, just had to try some different things.
Fair enough. All right, well then tell us how you started your day, where you were heading and what happened.
Yeah, so as you know, we started quite early. I think it was a 5:30 a.m. launch, which was, early. So anyway, headed straight out. My intention was to head straight to Woolooware Bay, and as I do, I get a little bit distracted every time I go past a bridge pylon and had to pull up there and have a few quick casts. And yeah, in the end, I probably wish I didn't do that. I think I should have continued and just got straight into Woolooware Bay, given sort of what I know now. I feel like there was a really early bite window, and being there as soon as I could have been there would have been sort of beneficial, I think, at the end of the day. But yeah, so I just had a few flicks at the bridge, obviously nothing, and then the boats leading into Woolooware Bay as well. Had a few casts at those and nothing. But soon made my way into the racks. I saw Rick King and Brian Honeybrook on the racks that I was going to go into. Yeah, just ended up pushing a little bit deeper into Woolooware Bay and fishing another set in there. So yeah.
All right. Tell us, how'd you go with your first fish? If they came in that order, was a pretty good fish. How'd that come about?
Yeah, so initially when I first got in there, I think it was maybe second or third cast, I hooked a fish straight away, and I ended up just pulling the hooks on it. So I was fishing a fairly stiff sort of setup, and I did have a crankbait on. So I ended up changing rods. It wasn't a big fish. It wasn't going to hurt my bag at the end of the day, but yeah, I felt that what I was fishing was a little bit too heavy. So ended up changing rods and putting a longer leader on a different combo, and yeah, throwing the Atomic Cards 38 in it's a black colour with an orange sort of belly on it, throwing that. And yeah, so it was only a couple of casts later after I lost that other fish, and then absolutely got roasted. Yeah, got a giant. It was an absolute monster of a fish, but as it goes, fishing in the racks, you certainly don't land them all. And I was on this guy for a little bit and got him to the surface and saw him, so I know he was a really good fish. And I thought I was out of and clear of all the danger, but as you know, with Woolooware Bay, there's plenty under the surface that you can't see. So yeah, just hit something and snapped me off. But I knew that when I cast that out initially that it was a long cast, and it was probably longer than what it should have been in a place like that with that much structure around. So I guess I got the result that could have been expected. But yeah, not to worry. I had another one with the same lure, ended up tying it back on, and it was probably only another 2 or 3 poles to the left of where I got that one, and yeah, clunk it went again, and yeah, that was the 39 tipper. So that was I think that first fish came at it was 20 to I've got it here. Yeah, it's 6:30 it came. So that was the first fish in the bag.
All right, and with your crank 38s, were you running the deep or the shallows?
Yeah, that was the mid 38 that I was using. Yeah, for those first 2 fish was the mid.
Okay, all right. And then how'd you go about filling the rest of your bag?
Yeah, so the next fish came. It was only I think it was a 24 or 25 tipper, just a little one, just the same thing, just throwing the crankbaits beyond the pylons and just slowly rolling them back. And yeah, got a couple of little fish like that. But the next one that ended up remaining in the bag was the 30. Was it 30, did you say? I think it was about a 30 tipper.
30.5, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, so just doing the same thing. And look, I don't know if there was any real pattern, like just coincidence to it, but I found that the only sort of way that I was getting the bites was throwing on a sort of 45-degree angle to the poles, sort of in the southwest direction, and bringing it back like that 45, and I just seemed to have a lot more success doing that rather than fishing perpendicular to the poles.
Okay. And was it a slow roll, or was it a twitch and pause, or how'd that look?
No, it was actually as slow as I could physically get it to move, just be able to feel that vibration through the rod, and yeah, just slow roll past those poles.
Okay. And just to put that into perspective, what reel are you running? Rod and reel?
Yeah, so that on that one that day, so that particular combo was a Samurai. It's actually an eggy rod, so it's a squid rod. It's a 7'6". It's a really slow tapered rod, and I often use it for my crabs when I'm fishing around structure, purely because I like the rod you're fishing fairly tight drags generally when you're around structure, and these little hooks tend to pull quite easily. So, yeah, it's generally really long leaders, probably about 4 or 5 metres of leader, and then that really soft rod. And I feel that I don't pull many hooks when I do that because rod does a lot of the work and folds up quite nicely. So, and that was paired with a little 2,500 Shimano Stella with 0.06 braid on it.
Okay. And with your hooks on the Crank 38s, are you running them straight out of the packet or you?
Yeah, they were both straight out of the packet, the ones I had on. Yeah.
And then once you destroy those hooks, what are you going to?
I got the Gemakatsu ones at the moment.
The wide gap ones?
Yeah, the wide gap ones. I find that they to be pretty good when you're trying to put a bit of hurt on the fish. They tend to not pull real easy, and I haven't straightened one yet. So, yeah, they seem to be working really well.
Yeah, I think they're actually a pretty good match for the Crank 38s.
Yeah.
They're super sharp. The wire's a little bit fine, but they seem to be stronger than what they might look. It would be what I'd say. So
okay, yeah, no, I haven't straightened any yet, but I tend to, I don't like going too hard on those little trebles, so maybe that's why I lost that big one early.
Hard to know, mate. Hard to know. All right, so throughout the day, how many fish do you get?
I think I ended up with about 6, maybe 7 fish, and they all came extremely early. I think my last fish was at 8:30, and after that that was it. Nothing other than flathead and some pesky little tailors. Yeah, it was definitely, as I was saying, I feel that's why I should have been in the racks as soon as I could have been in the racks, rather than getting distracted and fishing pylons and boats on the way out there. But yeah, 30 was my last fish, and the 41, that was the last one that I got in the bag.
Yeah, right. And they pretty much, they all came on the cranks.
Yeah, but the last one came on it got really quite high. Like, I'd actually never seen the tide quite that high in Woolooware Bay. That's the highest I've seen it. So I swapped over to the deep, so the same lure but in the deep diver. I mean, that was on the new Samurai reaction actually. So paired with the same size reel, but just getting a little bit deeper and lower on those poles. So it goes to about 1 to 1.2 metres, whereas the mid diving only goes to 0.7. So got me that little bit deeper, and that was what the big girl came on.
Yeah, okay. Very good. What leader were you running for the comp?
I started off with 6 pound, and that didn't end well. So I ended up basically swapping out to 8 pound, and I feel that you go any heavier than that, you can't really put that amount of hurt on those little trebles. I find that they just pull. And in there, you can fish 20 pound. If they get you on any kind of structure, you're going to break off anyway, so it's just unnecessary. The heavier leader sort of affects the action of those cranks, so I tend not to go much higher than 8 pound.
Yeah, I was going to say 8 pound, but you can pull pretty hard on 8 pound.
Yeah, 100% you can. Yeah, and the water in there is not the clearest, so you can generally get away with running it, and they're not leader shy. Yeah,
very good. All right, mate. Well, that's a pretty good rundown of the fishing. I think we've covered everything. So what did you get to take home for third place?
So I got the $200 cash prize from the boys, and as per usual, it's deposited into your account before you even left the place. So, yeah, that's a really good thing they do there, and the novelty check to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something nice about getting the money as you drive out of the car park. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it keeps the wife happy.
Fair enough. All right. So, mate, this is the part where we get to give a shout-out to whoever you like. What I'm going to start with is Podium Marine Wraps. Just tell us basically what you do.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so, Podium Marine Wraps, obviously we specialise in any form of marine wrapping, whether it be kayaks, just aluminium boats, your bass boats, up to yachts. We've done 90-something foot yachts. Yeah, so we specialise in marine, and, it's been doing it for 20 years in the signage game, and the last sort of 4 years have been purely boats, and we're nudging up to 400 boats in that time now. So it's been pretty good, and it's just been a lot of support from the fishing community, from people like yourself and the guys at Hobie and a few local boat builders that have been really good and supportive, and Anaconda as well, and Andrew Eddinghausen. So people like that I can't thank high enough. But it's been really good, and the level of growth over the period of time that we've been doing it's been fantastic.
Yeah, and with some of those people, I understand that you've got the Hobie AC kayaks underway at the moment, so you've got a kayak set.
Yeah, that's something I'm currently working on at the moment. They're spread all over the office currently. There's 60 kayaks getting printed. Astronomical amount of work in getting them printed and laminated and then cut up and just sorted out. And then once that's done, we go down and we've got to install them onto the kayaks as well. So having done that last year as well, I got a real appreciation of what the guys at Hobie do to get those kayaks ready for the Australian Championships. What Brad, Chris, and Darryl down there do it's a monstrous amount of work. Until you see it, you probably don't really appreciate it.
Yeah. And in addition to that, there's another boat for ET coming up soon.
Yeah, he's got his new 700 Surtees. So, similar boat to his of last year. So, be stripping the old one off and designing a new one soon in the next coming weeks. So, really looking forward to that. It's always good to get a bit creative and do something for ET.
Yeah. And one more project you've got going. I think you said you've got a Riviera in there at the moment or on its way.
Yeah, the 50-foot Riviera that we're going to be wrapping. That'll be in the city on Friday, along with a jet boat for one of the Sydney Harbour jet boating companies. What else we got going on at the moment? There's currently a boat for the Navy sitting in my driveway. It's an interesting one, just wrapping an unmanned Navy vessel that's basically used for border force and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, something different all the time, which is really good.
Yeah. Okay, and if people want to get in touch with you, where do they find you?
Yeah, I guess the easiest way is to just jump on the website. All the contact details are there. That's podiummarineWraps.com.au, or you can just give me a call on my mobile, which is 0422 914 140. We're also on all the socials, being Facebook, Instagram, and also on TikTok as well. So, just search Podium Marine Wraps and you'll find us.
Yeah, and also because I'm a technological genius, I've worked out how to put your websites in the notes on Spotify and Apple. So if you just go into any episode description, at least a recent one, you'll be able to take a link straight from there. So how about that?
Oh, fantastic. I didn't even know that. So thank you very much.
There you go. All right. So look, in addition to your own business, mate, is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, definitely. Just want to give a big shout out to Froggies Offshore for recently coming on board. I've used their products for a very long time. I've used the Samurais. Well, like I was explaining to you earlier today, I bought one Samurai and fell in love with them, and now I've got a full fleet of them. And when I got the phone call at the beginning of this year to come on board as an ambassador with them, it was a no-brainer. Love the product, and everything I say about them rings true, and I really believe in the quality of gear that they make, not only with the rods, but they've also got atomics as well, which has proved well for this event, and zip baits and Gemakatsu as well. So, definitely Froggies Offshore. And just also like to give a big shout out to my wife, because I've been doing a lot of comps lately, and disappearing for weekends at a time can be pretty hard on her. And leaving her at home with the kids, I think most anglers that do these tournaments with a family at home can relate to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Corey, mate, and that's another great competition for you, mate. Thanks for coming on, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thanks, Ethan. See you in Malakuta, mate.
Thanks, mate. All right, fishing.com.au, your one-stop Bream lure and tackle shop. Pick up the latest Bream tackle, including Muscle Vibes, Cranker Crabs, OSP bent minnows, Z-Man plastics, EKG lures, and Daiwa rods, reels, and tackle. Same-day shipping. Shop where the world champion, the Australian champion, and the current ABT champion shops. Fishing.com.au, online or in-store at Shop 18/29 Kiora Road, Miranda. Definitely, if you get in there, say hi from me. Let him know that you guys are listening and coming into the store to say hello. Anyway, what's going on at the moment? So jumping on the page, if you haven't got yourself some of the cicadas, you definitely should get your hands on those. The other thing that caught my eye is the Powerbait Crabby 2.5. I grabbed some of those last time I was in store. So hopefully they'll be good. And definitely for any of you guys that are doing a bit of free rig work, I think it's definitely worth having a look at those. Anyway, fishing.com.au. All right. So up next in second place, we've got an angler dropping 42.5 for his first fish, 40 for his second fish, and 39, giving him a bag of 121.5, but just getting pipped at the post on countback. I've got Warren Allen. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Mate, I'm pretty good, but probably not as good as you. Mate, it's another good result.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, it was good. Bit on the water makes a massive difference sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, if you're talking about one-day comps, if Foster had been a one-day comp, you would have won.
Yeah, that would have been.
And this was a one-day comp. And although you didn't win, you got the winning bag size, so you're right up there, mate. It's been a good little run for you.
Yeah, it has. I've been enjoying it. Been good fun.
Yeah, definitely. You said you've been getting a bit more time on the water lately?
Yeah, I have been a lot more lately. Been trying to get out every weekend if I can, and it's definitely starting to pay off now, which is good.
Yeah, definitely makes a difference.
Oh,
So, mate, when was the last time you were on the Georges?
the last one was a Hobie round last year, but not in the same sort of areas. So it was in a completely different area.
Yeah, okay. So I understand that you went to Woolooware Bay. So why'd you go there?
I just think there was after last comps, and you always hear people say, I'm going to Woolooware Bay. And I think Russell Barbecue went there one year, and I thought, gee, there's always big fish there. It seems like there's always big fish there. I'm going to go and have a try. And I haven't been there in that spot for years, and I didn't go that well years ago, but I didn't know it as much as what I do now too. So, yeah, and I just thought maybe there's big fish there, and that was my decision from day dot, was just go straight to Woolooware Bay. Yeah, it was
cool, mate. Well, let's get into it. Tell us how your day went. How did you go about catching these monsters?
Yeah, well, the first thing I done is just took off and went, like I sort of learnt a couple of things from Foster, to tell you the truth. I was fishing rock bars and stuff up there, and I thought, you know what, it's going to be the same sort of tides. It's an incoming tide. The rocks will be almost out, and I'll go on some rocks to start with, if I can find some rocks, which I looked at 6 maps and stuff like that and saw some rocks and remembered rocks there from years ago as well, which I think some of them mightn't be there anymore, but sounds of it. And yeah, the tide was coming up over those rocks, so I thought, hang on, I'll do what I've done at Foster and threw over the rocks, and there's a sort of a deep edge on one side, and just threw a pro lure over that one, and in combat, and as soon as it sort of hit the deep water, bang, got that 42, and that was my first fish, 42 and a half, I think they called it.
Right.
Which I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
But the good thing is it come straight out, come over the top, went up, sat on the top, come straight out, went the deep water, and then I was right. But then I paddled over that area later, and I thought, how did I get that out of there? Because there was rocks side.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was a fish. And after that, I ran into Rick King on the water, and he said they're getting them on gold crabbies and all this sort of stuff. So I tried poles and no success on the pole. So I thought, I'm going into the shallows and I'll try in the mangroves. I think it was about the 6 casts in the mangroves. I got the next biggest fish out, the 40, and I held on to those 2 for a while. And then I couldn't get another one, and then I think I got a 28 after that on the way back. And then not long after that, I hooked another 39, which was good. So that just put me right back up. So I was pretty happy with that.
100%.
They were on Sprat.
Definitely, mate. It's a cracking bag.
Yeah, I was happy with that bag.
Okay.
But yeah, techniques, and I was onto the Sprats after that. Yeah, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, okay. Well, tell us how you're using the Sprats.
I was just throwing them right in deep under the mangroves, trying to skip them a bit if I could, and getting them under as far as I could. And then sometimes I was getting a few hits, but they weren't hooking up. But it seemed like the big ones just grabbed it. And that was on a 128 jig head or 120th. I can't remember what I was using at the time, but either one of the two on a hidden weight. Yeah, it was good.
Okay. Picturing you're chucking it in, you're trying to skip it on the way in. And then are you ripping it back, or is it just a slow roll or a twitch retrieve? How's that look?
Sometimes I do rip it back, like quite a fast burn, and then just let it sit. And I've got fish like that before. So I sort of tried that, and I can't remember if I got that fish by ripping it in or just sort of sitting it under. But I think I might have ripped it in, because if you got under there, I think I was getting hooked on the roots of the mangroves too much. So I was sort of ripping it to get it a little bit in the deeper water, and then stopping and pausing it there and doing a couple of hops, and they usually grab it on the second hop.
Yeah. Wow. A tricky technique in the mangroves. Like you said, there's heaps of mangrove roots, and if you let it drop in, it typically gets fouled up and they're hard to remove. So
yeah, I lost a few together, but that's why I tried to go so light. I think I was out a bit deeper on the poles and that, trying with the 116, and it was as soon as you throw a 116 in there, it seems to hook straight up. So I went as light as I could, so it's just sort of slowly sunk. Yeah, that was definitely good fun in the mangroves, because they want to do you up pretty quick, I've noticed too, and take you to every tree that they can possibly find.
Yep, which all have oysters.
Yeah, that's right. And Yeah, the fish I did get out of there, I was lucky. They pretty well come straight out, so it was good. I didn't have to fight them too much and straight out in the deep water. Yeah, so that was, I think.
Yeah, right. And what sort of leader were you running?
I think I still had the leaders on from Foster. So one would have been an 8, and I think I was using 18.6 to tell you the truth. And they were the Sprat 75 cleavers. I think I had the colour I was using. I'm not sure. It might have been the other one that's very similar colour. Is it Sabre or something like that? There's one or two. And they're the ones I mainly use these. Yeah, so I was using just 6 pound, 8 pound.
Yeah. You were saying to me the Sprats have helped your fishing out a little bit. You've been able to catch some bigger fish.
Yeah, I do think that they're more of a big fish lure myself. I have noticed since I've been using them, I seem to get a few more bigger fish now. I don't know if it's I've worked the technique out to use them, or I'm not quite sure, but I seem to be definitely getting bigger fish on those Sprats. And I do think those Combat Pro lures seem they seem a good lure as well.
Absolutely, especially in the Georges. They tend to like them down there.
I know guys use like sorry mate, I can't think what they're called now, like the cranker ones, the little crankers in there too, little cranks, and they seem to work quite well down there.
Little cranker cranks, yeah.
Cranker cranks, that's it. They seem to work pretty well down there too, I hear, but I love the Pro Lure one. The Combat seems to be a good colour too. I don't know what it is, but they seem to like it.
Yeah, we found that when they first introduced that colour, it just seemed to be a good colour, particularly in the Georges. So,
yeah, that's the same lure I used at Foster a couple of weeks before as well, and they seem to like that colour up there as well. Another little hint for it.
Yeah, very good, very good. Exactly, mate. I'll have to take your advice, mate, because I certainly didn't find them up there.
I didn't on the first day, did I?
You did find them on the first day, mate. Yeah, oh well, sometimes it's not meant to be.
No.
All right, mate. I'm still impressed by the bag, like both you and Ryan. They're both cracking bags. If you get over 120 centimetres, like 3 over 40 is pretty good going.
Well,
was there anything else about the fishing that we should talk about?
No, I think I pretty well gave you exactly what I've done, and that's Hurricane and Combat. That's all I sort of used all the whole day. So I didn't use anything else. I don't think I even pulled another lure out of the box or out of the. And
yeah, right.
I don't think so. Yeah, we did. I did have a bit of a chat with Ryan at the end. Yeah, I had a bit of a chat with Ryan at the end, and we were both wondering who had the biggest bag. I thought he had the biggest bag by 0.5 centimetre, but obviously when they rounded up, it got me the same, and we were both sort of betting on each other. It was funny. But, it's good. He's a good bloke too, so it's good to see Ryan win like that.
Yeah, mate, 100%. All right. Let's run through. What did you get to take home for second place?
$400, which is quite.
Absolutely. Very good. All right. And mate, one last thing before we shoot off. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Well, I'd just like to thank AFT because, it's been an enjoyable round. It's very relaxed and I enjoy doing those. And a one-day comp's not a bad thing too sometimes without having to go away and spend a bit of extra money going away. So, thank the guys that run that. That was good. And speaking to you is always good. You've done something right if you can talk to you. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably about it for me at this stage.
Fair enough. All right, mate. I think we're going to leave it there, mate. Congratulations on a couple of good fishing outings, and hopefully we get to have a talk to you again shortly.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
All right, if you're in the market for a new fishing kayak or looking to make some upgrades to your existing kayak or possibly looking at kayak fishing tournaments, then HWS is the place to go. They have a full range of Hobie kayaks and stock the latest kayak accessories and are really dialed in when it comes to the best kayak fishing setup for the casual fisher and the tournament angler. hws.com.au, online or in store at Shop 3/638 Pacific Highway, Belmont. James offers free delivery on Hobie kayaks across all Greater Sydney, Central Coast and Hunter. Now, as I've been talking about for the last little while, like we're just coming into Christmas, maybe James has got some things in there for you. Definitely the Passports are the go. So they're a nice little versatile kayak, entry level. And at the moment, he's got those with a stand-up paddleboard to give away. So that's a great offer. definitely jump on there, give James a call and get your hands on one of those, hws.com.au. All right, so finally in first place, Ivan Angler with his third win for the season in the AFT, dropping 3 fish for 38.5, 38.5, and a massive big bream of 44.5 centimetres, giving him a total of 121.5, winning on countback with the big bream. I've got Ryan Honeybrook. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me again.
Mate, it's been a great season for you and another good win just to round the season out nicely.
Yeah, it was a good one. Last minute decision again seems to be my thing that goes with me. If I do a last minute decision to fish something, I go all right. So
yeah, there you go. No planning's the way to go.
That seems to be the way.
Fair enough. All right. So when was the last time you were on the system?
Last time would have been for the Hobie round Georges River.
Okay. Did you fish similar areas?
Yes, the exact same spot. Went to Woolaware Bay. Yeah, sat there for 2 days in the Hobie comp, and then sat all there. Went straight there on AFT.
Right. And where'd you end up in the Hobie comp?
6th, I ended up.
Okay. So solid as well.
Yeah, I was happy with that. There was some good fish in there and stuck it out.
Wow. Very good. All right. Well, let's get around to, what was it, Saturday morning on a long weekend. Yeah, tell us about your day, how you went about catching your fish, smashing everyone.
Yeah, it was a nice and early start with these ones. They are daylight savings coming in that night. It was very bright in the morning early, so I think that's why they pushed it forward, a 5:30 start or something like that. We're on the water. Yeah, and I just had all intentions. I was always just heading straight to Woolaware Bay. I love fishing racks, any type of structure like that. So that's all the plan was. I was very unorganised. I still had leaders and everything, same ones tied on from day 2 at Foster Hobie round. So I hadn't changed anything, but I went, it's the same sort of stuff, so it'll work.
What was that? What do you have tied on? What leaders?
So I had my heavy rack rod with the 10-pound leader, then a bit less of a heavier rod with 8-pound, and then another one with 6-pound leaders tied on. So, yeah, not over the top heavy, but heavy enough to give you some serious pulling power.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. All right. Tell us how your day went.
So I pedalled around the corner. Rick and I headed off and straight into Woolaware Bay and sort of got in there. I knew the high tide was coming, and the area I like to fish that I first get into, the water needs to be quite low to see all the poles.
Yeah.
Because I really like to target all the poles. Once that water gets up and over the top of the poles, they're quite hard to see, so you're kind of casting blind.
Yeah.
Got in there, they were there, started throwing a sprat, just the forktail one, for a bit, throwing that around, sort of just having a look. Water clarity looked all right, everything looked good, bit of current still pushing in. Didn't really get a touch for a bit. It didn't take us long to get, probably took us 40 minutes to get around to there. Yeah, that sort of, I was like, it's a bit quiet. I was expecting to get sort of a fish on the first set of poles, which I really like, and didn't get anything. Jamie Cole was on my left on one side, Rick was on the other, and neither of them had got a fish yet. And I went, okay. So got the heavier rod out, threw on a Crabby with a 128, and went, all right, now I'll really start hitting poles, and was casting right in on the poles and had a couple of little hits, nothing major. Then I had 2 poles, isolated poles. I went, yep, there should be a fish on that. Threw him, sinking down, and bang, I felt a hit. Went to set the hook and sort of just went, okay, maybe a small fish. And then as I was sort of halfway through the strike, I felt another bump. I went, there's another fish at it. So I let it sit, and I seen a tick on the line again. So I really just let it sit, set the hook, and felt the weight straight away. I went, that was a solid fish. And I was using the heavier, the rack rod, the Daiwa Infeet EX, the 671 LXS, I think it is. Chris Hickson designed it, his rack rod.
Yeah, right.
So it's got some serious pulling, and I got it away from the poles. I went, okay, it's all good. Brown of the top of it. I went, okay, I think it's a flathead. And then I had another go, and I went, okay, and not pulling. I pretty much fish a lock drag in there, so no line was coming off. And then it wasn't until it came right to the surface, I went, that ain't a flathead. And its head come up, I just grabbed the net, straight in the net. It was kicking, trying to get out, and I pulled it in, and I just sort of looked and went, okay, that's a fish.
Yeah.
That's a good fish. And Jamie had seen me and he looked across, he went, good fish? I went, yeah, that's a really good fish.
Yeah, right. And that was a big one, was it?
Yeah, and that was the 44 and a half. Yeah, 6:15. So it was probably, 10, maybe 10 minutes after we got there.
Wow.
Sort of thing. And I went, bit of relief, but also a bit of stress going, well, now I've got to get friends, really.
Yeah, friends.
I can't have that just sitting there and a couple of squeakers. So,
Yeah.
So I got it out. Jamie came over, took some photos for me, and I gave it a good swim after, and watched it swim back off. And there was a bit of weight off the shoulders to go, all right, they're here. I just got to take my time. And with the way it bit, it came at it probably 2 or 3 times. I went, okay, I think I need to slow right down.
Yeah.
That maybe they've just let them pick at it and then they might have it eat. So, I sort of just went, all right, isolated poles, slow, sing on. So I sort of just was picking pole, any sort of pole that was separated from another pole, what I was throwing at. It took a bit. I didn't get another bite. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're not here. Maybe I just got the one that was sitting there left. So I sort of kept working my way around the poles, especially in one section that I really like. Doubled back over a couple of poles that I threw the sprat on and didn't throw the crabby on. And same thing, I'd get like a little hit, not much. Wasn't even getting nippers or legs taken off the crabby. So I went, okay, there's not even smaller ones here.
Yeah, right.
So I'm going to change it up. Then for the Hobie round, grubs were working really good in there. So I went, all right, put on a 2.5-inch grub, bloodworm, the bait junkie.
Yep.
28th jig head again, straight in, and probably 3 poles after I'd cast, hooked up again. And that's a good, got another fish, at least it's a fish, and that was a 29 tip.
Okay.
So getting there, there was a fish. I went, that works, and that was at 7 o'clock. So it was a good 45 minutes until that one came in. And I went, maybe blow. And I did hear a couple of other anglers talking, saying, the only time I've got a hit is just after I put scent on. And so as soon as I pulled the grub out and put the scent on, 3 poles later, I got a fish.
Okay.
So I went, okay. So I lathered it back up in scent again.
Which was?
It's Striker's scent. It's a local guy up in Foster. He makes his own scents and stuff. Yeah, so it's called Striker's Scent, I think is what it's called.
Sure.
Yeah, and I've been using that for a bit. Yeah, I really like it. It's good, sticks on the lure really well. And it seems to always produce.
Yeah, very good. That's what we want.
Yeah, so that was the first one. The second fish was 6:56, and then it must have been 2 poles later because the next photo's at 6:59. I pulled in a 24 tip. And I went, all right, I've got my bag and breathe now, but rid of the 24 and 29 tip.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need some decent upgrades. So by this point, I'd started to really work my way down towards the southern side of Woolooware Bay, I think you'd call it, down towards the oyster shed down the back, with the intentions of when this tide was getting up to fish aquas along the mangroves.
Okay.
That was sort of my main intention once the tide got up and the poles went underwater to head down to there. So I kept working my way all the way down to there with not really many fish at all.
Yeah.
Through a couple of cranks, a couple of different things, and it was really quiet. Got down to the back to the mangroves, and the water was quite murky down there.
Okay.
Like silted up to a thing. I went, okay, maybe the wind's been pushing on it. Could mean there's fish here. And there was tons of jelly prawns down there, like clouds of them in the mangroves.
Wow.
And they were even like, you could see them busting up almost. And I'm like, oh, there has to be fish here. And so I put on an aqua on a worm hook and fished the mangrove edges for probably 45 minutes, I would say. By the time I got down there, I seen my aqua move once.
Yeah, okay.
And apart from that, I didn't get a hit. So I went, I don't know if I was there too late and they were right up and in the mangroves.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I spoke with Steve after the comp and he got fish off the mangroves. So possibly I was there too late and they were already up and in the mangroves and not on the edge. So I was like, that was probably 8 o'clock by then. And I was starting to stress a bit going, I've got 2 small ones in there. And I knew I had to leave by sort of 10:30 to comfortably make it back.
Yeah.
So I've got about 2 hours to make something happen. So I left the mangrove, said this is sort of a waste of time, pushed back out, and there's that back corner, there's this isolated set of Siracs and just random poles out there. So that I got some good fish from the Hobie round off them. I'm going to go out to them.
Yeah.
Pushed out there, and water was just below the top of them, so I could just see them. I went, I've only got half an hour of fishing these before these go underwater, and then I can't see them.
Yep.
And got out there and crabby back on and threw in. I think it was second pole there as well. Hooked up, went, yep, another good fish. Pulled it up, and that was a 38.5.
Wow. Now your bag's getting good.
I went, okay, now it's looking real good now. I've got rid of the 24, got a 29. If I can get a mid-30s, I should be in with a good shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all right, I've got a fair few poles left, and there was a couple of other anglers coming across. I think it was Carl Dubois, Dave Hedge, push it across, and I went, I know they fish down this way, so they possibly have hit all these poles already, but I just this season I've really sort of tried not to focus on what other people are fishing, and if I'm fishing it, I'm still confident I'm going to catch a fish on it. Where past seasons I've seen people in the area and I've just gone, nah, they've fished it, I'm not going to bother. And this season it's really helped trying to get in that mindset of even if they've fished it, I'm fishing it a different way and I'm going to get a fish off it. So I went, I'll keep pushing along. So yeah, so that one came at 8:30, and then I went, got some more, and then pushed along a couple more poles, couple of little hits. I went, at least there's a bit more, like a bit more sign of life here. And yeah, so that was 8:28 that one, and then the next one came at 8:37. Another pole cast in, fell to clunk, and yeah, pulled in another one that was 38 and just over 38, and they round up as long as it's over the line, and yeah, so that rounded up to another 38.5. So yeah, I went, okay, now I've got a really good bag.
That's what I was going to say, hard to beat now.
Yeah, I went, I should be hard to beat now, but after seeing what Josh Richards did in the Hawkesbury,
100%.
I could be still a long way off.
That's it.
Yeah, so I was sort of, happy with that. I went, got a good bag, let's start to sort of not push my way home, but know there's big fish, and that's all I really need now. I don't really need a bag fill. I just need that last spot, more good fish. Yeah, sort of wandering back, hitting poles here and there, and the bite really shut down for me.
Right.
I think from then on, I caught one more fish, and it was 25 centimetres at most, I think.
Yeah, so not even.
Yeah, pushed our way back to the racks at the front. They were all fully submerged. The wind had started to pick up then as well.
Yeah.
So it was even harder to see the poles. So I pushed up onto the flat, started fishing some oyster bars. Yeah, I couldn't get another bite after that. It really, really shut down for me.
Yeah, ouch. What I was going to ask is, so you're fishing, I think you said your heavier rod, which was 10-pound leader, is that right?
Yeah, that's the one, yep.
Okay, and crabby on a 128, so a hidden weight?
Yeah, hidden weight, yeah, the size 2H, the heavy gauge.
Heavy gauge, okay.
Yeah.
What I was trying to get a picture of in my mind is how you cast out a pole as close as you can, and then you just let it sit, or what's the strategy?
Yeah, I sort of, especially in there, because there is a bit of current flow, and I noticed this in the Hobie round as well. If the crabby wasn't hitting the pole, you weren't getting a bite. It wasn't as bad in this round. You could be 30 centimetres off the pole and still get a bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be pretty damn accurate. It's mainly, once you're at the back of Woolooware Bay, there's not much tidal flow. It's mainly the wind that gets your line and then drags the crabby away.
Yeah.
So I sort of try and cast as close as I can. The 128th in the 2-inch crabby seems to be, the sink rate is fast enough to still stay within the strike zone of the poles in the depth that's there. Majority of the time, I'm not really letting it sit on the bottom. Too impatient to let it sit there, I think. It's cast in, let it sink. By the time I go, okay, it's close to the bottom, rip it back in onto the next pole.
Yeah. Okay, so you're relying on it, then more or less hitting it on the drop.
Yeah, hitting it, relying on those fish that are sort of midway up the pole, if not just below the surface of the water, seeing that lure coming over and eating it straight away. Not really the fish that are mooching around at the bottom, that'll see something sitting there and go, oh, I might go and investigate. Sort of just really trying to target the more active fish that will see it and go straight for it.
Yeah. Oh, well, it worked for you well enough in this comp, I reckon.
Yeah, no, it worked pretty well. It was a weird bite. They were timid, but they hit it pretty hard.
Yeah, okay. All right. And okay, so I think that probably covers the fishing, except for did you lose any? Did you get done by any?
No, I didn't get done by one fish, so I was quite happy. It's not too bad in there. It's if you know the right way to pull them out, you're pretty good. And fishing the 10-pound leader and a lock drag, I run a 3,000 reel on it, and a lock drag, it only takes a couple of cranks, and even the bigger fish are pulled right out beside you. And as long as you got their head up, you can be pretty safe. Your worst bet would be straightening the hooks, and you got to use a heavier rod than that. I've learnt the lesson, and I have to use the heavier gauge hooks.
Yeah,
you straighten way too many of the finer gauge hooks.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, mate, that's a pretty cool story. I must admit, I've fished Woolooware Bay a few times, and I haven't been able to get any size. So you've obviously done something a little bit better.
Yeah, it just seems to be. I've got some confidence in there at the moment, and so the style of fishing I really love doing. So
yeah, nice.
Get in there, and I've just sort of got confidence that I'm going to pull a fish out. And I was just lucky enough on the day to pull some really solid fish. That all of them were broad, heavy, and fat fish as well. So
right, yeah, so good bag. All right, mate, that is hectic. All right, so you end up in first place on countback. Just pipping Warren at the post there.
Yeah, just we got back, and I was pretty confident. And then,
as you would be,
Rick smirked at me, and I went, "What are you smirking at?" And then I see Warren walk around the car, and he had a bigger grin on his face. And I went, "What have you got?" And we were going through it, and I had him by a centimetre. Yeah, it turns out two of his fish got upgraded to the half a centimetre, and so I was lucky that my one just went over that 38 to bring it to the 38.5 to end up even with him.
Just enough. There you go.
No, anyone else to beat me at the post, I wouldn't have minded to be was.
Fair enough. All right, mate. What did you get to take home for big fish and first place?
So first place was $600 and $100 for big bream.
Fair enough. That's a good way to go.
Yeah, no, nice little day out fishing. So
very good. All right, mate. Last thing before we shoot off, mate, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Big thanks to the guys that run these comps. It's been a great final to go, and yeah, it's been a good little series. This one, a good local one. One dayers can get in, get out, and yeah, and everyone else, and mainly the wife for letting me out fishing, looking after a 1-year-old at home, a dismantled bathroom that I probably should have been doing renos on instead of fishing, and yeah, so yeah, that's the main one.
And you told her you won $100?
Yeah, $100 to the bathroom.
Fair enough. Very good, mate. All right, look, well, congratulations. Another great round from you. And, mate, I will see you down the coast at Kuta.
No worries. Thank you very much. See you there.
Thanks, mate. All right, so there you have it, everybody. Another great episode. It was good to see those three up the top, Corey, Warren, and Ryan rounding out the crew. Ryan, like I said, he's dominated down there and done very, very well. All right. So as we come into Christmas, if you haven't done so, and you've got some time, go back through and listen to some of the back episodes you've missed. The ABT one that's just came out was just a cracker. The other thing to note is some of the rounds that you might not think are going to have some good information. You just never know where that gem is going to come from. I know coming up, I've got some great things, including one interview that I did during the Vic Bream Classics, which has taught me something which had changed my fishing immediately. So that's something to look forward to from Dan Mackerel. How good is that? All right, I think I'm going to wrap this one up quickly. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to the guys that have joined for the collective. That's been a really great response. I'm really, really grateful. And we've been able to give just a little bit more back to the fly program, which is really good. Nice little thing to do out of the collective. All right, I'm going to leave it there. And I'll talk to you next week on the Bream Fishing Project. And I think this will be very close to the last one for the year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired, and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.